Good morning, Greater First family, to Bishop Tavis Lane Grant II, to Lady Grant, and to the entire Greater First family. I'm Nikia Hammonds-Blakely, and I'm so glad to be with you this Sunday as we observe Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Truly, the Lord has been good to me. I am now a two-time, 27-year breast cancer survivor. To God be the glory. But I'm here not just to witness of God's faithfulness, His healing power, His mercy, and His love, but I'm here to remind every woman out there that you can never underestimate the power of knowing your own body. When I was only 16 years old, a sophomore in high school, attending William A. Wirt High School in Gary, Indiana, one morning, I was just in the shower getting ready for school. I wasn't trying to do a breast self-exam. I was taking a shower and I felt the lump. Mentioned it to my mom. We scheduled a doctor's appointment, and my family physician, she also felt it. But at first she said, "Nikia, don't worry about it. You're a teenager, and girls your age are just forming, so your breasts will tend to be lumpy and bumpy." But by the end of that visit, she said, just to be on the safe side, let's get it checked out. That started the journey of a lifetime, believe me. We went in for that biopsy, being reassured, "Nikia, I'm sure it's nothing." But it turned out to be a very rare and aggressive form of breast cancer. The doctors immediately wanted to remove both breasts. But I was only 16 years old. I couldn't go to any of my friends and say, "Hey girl, how did you handle your breast cancer?" At the time, I didn't even have a family history of breast cancer. It wasn't in our vocabulary. I felt alone. I literally did not know where to start, and I didn't know how my story would end. But the faithfulness of God obviously prevailed. He did heal my body after I had a partial mastectomy. You see, because at that time, living in Gary, Indiana, not knowing what an oncologist was, having no clue what treatment options I had, having little to no resources, I had a pretty hard route of it. I didn't know about reconstructive surgery. I didn't know about prostheses and so many of the things that could have just made my life easier. I didn't know about support groups. So I used to ball up gym socks with a very deformed left breast and try to make them even. And I carried that weight alone. While my other classmates were out at Six Flags and going to Great America and Indiana Beach, I was going to the hospital every day for treatments. I mention that because our access to quality health care many times is a huge indicator of our survivability with this disease. And I was blessed. I was blessed because I never was followed by an oncologist. I didn't know what I didn't know. Fast forward 18 years later, 18 years after having annual mammograms, 18 years after educating myself about the disease and the high risk that African American women and young women have to the disease, I got that 18th mammogram. And at the age of 34, there was suspicious activity in the opposite breast. The doctor told me, "Well, Nikia, we see something suspicious, but let's keep an eye out on it. Come back next year and we'll see how it progresses." But this time I knew better. This time I had done my homework and I insisted for further testing. He actually said, "Nikia, let's not be a hypochondriac. Let's just keep an eye out on it and come back next year and we'll see if there's any progress." But I knew that Black women in particular have a higher death rate to this disease. I knew how quickly the disease can form and metastasize. And I said, if there's even a remote possibility that something is going on in my breast, let's get another test. We did, and it turned out to be cancer. But this time I was in the driver's seat. I elected to have a bilateral prophylactic mastectomy because I knew with my age, with my now history, and my weight, so many other factors, I knew I was high risk for reoccurrence. So I had the double mastectomy. It was a painful decision. And it was a blow to my faith because for 18 years, I was able to travel this country and even on into Africa, telling people God is a healer. He healed me. And what was I to do when I was faced with that mountain again? And I speak to that because many women who experience this disease, many of them also experience a recurrence in years to come. But I stand here to minister to you and remind you that breast cancer is no longer a death sentence. It doesn't have to be. Number one, early detection really still is our best protection. There is currently no cure or preventative measure for the disease. There are things that we can do to minimize our risk. But the best protection that we have right now for this disease is to catch it in its earliest form. And that means being proactive and paying attention to the changes going on in our body. For some women, there may be a lump. For other women, it may be a rash. For some, it's just the dimpling of the skin or an inversion of the nipple. You know you're normal. And at the first time sign of any abnormality, go to the doctor and get it tested. And if you're like me, living in a community where maybe you don't have specialists handy and you have to travel to another city, sis, do what you gotta do because you are gonna be your own best advocate. And if you feel brushed off and dismissed by your doctors like many Black women are, fire that doctor and find another. Lastly, I want to say that if you ever find yourself facing this disease, couple your faith with action. Faith without works is dead. We can believe that God is a sovereign healer, but many times we have to walk out the process of that healing. So going to the doctor does not nullify your faith. Having to have a surgery, taking medicine, enduring a treatment is not a nullification of your faith. It is the walking out of your faith. So you can still be a believer. You can still claim the blood and power of Jesus because no matter what you do, healing only comes from the blood of Jesus. But do your part. The statistics say 1 in every 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer, but Black women in particular will die at a 60% higher rate. But thanks be to God, I'm here today to let you know that the blood of Jesus is still real. And that even after breast cancer, if you treat it aggressively, if you find it early, and if you handle it proactively, oh, there's a long life after this disease. The doors that open up to you for ministry, show somebody else that if he did it for you, he'll do it for them. So I want to remind you this National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, take care of yourself, sis. There's only one you, and the world needs you. And we love you. God bless you all.